to flourish and thrive. But I've got a couple things I want to chat with here. I know for many of us, intimacy can be extremely difficult. There are a few things more vulnerable than sex. And so we bring a lot of baggage, a lot of hurt, a lot of brokenness, usually into our marriages. Some of us, physically, sex is just extremely painful. You're almost always dealing with two separate drives. Not always, but usually dealing with two separate drives. You've got a real strong drive and a real low drive, or the opposite. Every time I've kind of taught on this, I've done some conferences on this stuff, and every time I do it, I get on repeat these emails from these women saying, hey, I've got a real strong sex drive, and my husband, and he does not. And so this isn't just a one-way street. I mean, we can kind of snicker every time you kind of talk about a guy wanting more sex than a woman, but in reality, that's not all that's out there. There's all sorts of brokenness. There's all sorts of issues that we're trying to navigate through. Not to mention the fact that if I think about our church, particularly here in Flower Mound and Plano and South, like you're talking about a lot of people with a lot of kids, and then like when do you even have sex, right? I mean, you're exhausted when they go to bed, and how do you kind of work towards that and work on that? So I know that intimacy is difficult. Nervousness can keep us uptight. Physical issues can make sex difficult. I said this last week. I want to just continue to encourage you in this way. These things should not embarrass you. So I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. You are human. Just breathe for a second. And here's what humans do. Humans get afraid. They get anxious. They get nervous. Humans can struggle with sexual things because they're humans and the world is fallen and broken. So what I want to ask you to do, like I did last week, like I'm about to do, and like I will again next week, is to step into the light. Again, if you remember back to last week, if you weren't there, hopefully by this point in my last week, you'll get the podcast and catch up. But listen, the projection of strength, the projection of this isn't an issue for us, man, it's harming, not helping. You've got to step into the light. It is not a knock on you to have issues in this area of your life. You just need to have the courage to come forward and say, man, we're really struggling in this area. I'm not sure what it is. We can't navigate it. We need someone to help us navigate it. And to come into a community that can hold you accountable, encourage you in your relationship with one another while you extend grace to one another.